This experience happened in 2014. At that time, I had just joined the workforce. I was doing a particularly boring job, working late at every day, and I had no sense of accomplishment. I felt that my life lacked passion and fun. I felt like I was lost and didn't know which direction to go. I knew I needed to find a meaningful direction, but didn't know what to do or where to look for answers. In such a state, I began to question my life choices. I longed to find something to do that made me feel worthwhile. Although I had some friends and family, they seemed unable to really understand my inner feelings and I felt very lonely. One day, I left work very late. The moment I left the office, I felt a sense of relief and release. I wanted to walk home so I could relax a little. There weren't many people on the road. I looked at the night view and it still felt pretty good. When I reached the intersection, I suddenly heard the whistling sound of a car. I subconsciously turned my head and saw a car out of control and was coming towards me. I had no time to dodge, so I could only watch as the car came crashing towards me. At that moment, I felt that the whole world stood still, as if time had become slow. Then I felt a tremendous pain, as if my body had been torn apart. Before I could react, I couldn't see anything. I was taken to the hospital by good people. After a difficult period of first aid, I finally regained some consciousness. However, I felt a strong force was pulling my soul. I saw my body lying on a bed in the emergency center, and I was looking down on my body from above. The doctors were working hard to resuscitate me. The feeling was amazing to me. I felt as if my soul was independent of my body. My consciousness was very clear in the process, as if I had rediscovered the essence and meaning of life. A peaceful aura permeated around me, as if I was in a world of infinite expanse. I could feel a mysterious force flowing around me, which surprised me. Although my body was still in danger, my soul was given a peace and calm like never before. This experience gave me a whole new understanding and sense of life. My soul began to rise uncontrollably and I felt some panic and uneasiness. The ascent was so fast that I felt like a rising rocket. My body was no longer bound to me, and I seemed to be floating in the clouds. Soon, I stopped on a platform. The platform was huge and I felt surrounded by love. My senses became sharper and I could feel every tiny change. This space was so big that it seemed to have no boundaries. I was like a free spirit who could fly at will. This feeling was wonderful. Suddenly, I heard a voice. "Welcome to this place." I don't know where the voice came from, but it made me feel very calm. I saw a dazzling light, and then a gorgeous angel appeared in front of me. She was dressed in a gorgeous white robe and held a long, shining golden sword in her hand. Her long hair fluttered, looking even more divine and beautiful. As she approached me, all my pain and anxiety vanished. She reached out and gently embraced me, making me feel a warmth and comfort that I had never felt before. She told me that she was my guardian angel. The angel led me through a door and we came to a spacious room. This room was amazing, it was like an open-air movie theater. It was very comfortable and relaxing. The screen started to show my past life. There were some good memories, such as scenes with my family and friends, and some moments that made me feel happy. Some are not so good experiences, such as the difficulties and setbacks I experienced, as well as my faults and mistakes in some occasions. Some of these scenes made me feel sad, some made me feel happy, and some made me rethink my behavior and the way I do things. The angel stood quietly by my side, not saying a word, just being silent and companionable. The angel told me, "I am ready to take you to another place, are you ready?" I looked at her white wings and imagined what it would be like to fly. I took a deep breath and decided to follow the angel forward. The angel led me through a passage. Eventually, we came to a vast place. Here was a paradise full of peace and joy. Inside the paradise were lush green grass and rainbow-like flowers, as well as a bright starry sky and warm sunshine. This place makes me feel endlessly joyful and peaceful. Here, I felt like I had found my true home. I feel that the boundary between me and heaven has been broken. There was love and eternal hope. Suddenly, an even brighter light illuminated the entire space. I felt myself surrounded by a powerful energy, an energy that made me feel incredibly peaceful. I turned my head and saw a figure. He was wearing a white robe, a golden crown on his head, and his eyes were filled with wisdom and compassion. I knew he was God. He smiled at me, then reached out to embrace me. I felt his endless love and forgiveness. He said to me, "My child, I know you have been through a lot and have endured a lot of pain and suffering in this world. But know that I am always there for you, always watching over you, always loving you." I began to pour out my confusion to God. I told God that I felt my work was meaningless and unfulfilling. I even began to wonder if my life had any meaning. God listened quietly to my confession, and then he answered me, "My child, you need to know that every single person on earth is very important. Each person is playing their own unique role, and each person is contributing in their own way. The job of a janitor, for example, may seem mundane, but it's actually very important. Their job is more than just cleaning up trash and keeping the environment sanitary. Without their dedication, public places would be filthy and could pose a health hazard that affects everyone's quality of life. He contributes to the health and safety of the entire community. Therefore, everyone's work is meaningful and has a very important role even if it seems ordinary. I never thought my work would have an impact on others. But now, God is telling me that I have a contribution to make to the world as well. He told me that I should see my work as a service. Because every little thing I do has an impact on others. In that moment, I felt my soul was uplifted and I had a new perspective on life and work. God told me it was time to go back and that I had to complete my unfinished mission. This decision did not leave me feeling depressed, on the contrary, it left me feeling motivated and enthusiastic. I thank God for giving me this opportunity to realize the meaning and value of my existence. I didn't beg God to let me stay, because I knew I had to go back to Earth. Go back to be a better version of myself. As the angel led me back to Earth, I felt like I had traveled through a time warp in a flash. We soon arrived at the hospital. I saw that the doctors were still resuscitating me. The nurse next to me told the doctor, "We've done all we can, his heart has stopped." I started to become nervous. Looking at my body lying there, I felt that my fate had been like a falling leaf, without support and reliance. When I looked at the angel next to me, the angel seemed to understand what I meant. She placed her hand on the spot of my heart. After a while, the heart monitor began to show beating lines. The angel told me, "Get back into your body." My soul and body reconnected. My body began to feel the world around me and hear the voices of the medical staff and the sound of instruments. As I slowly opened my eyes, I saw the white walls and ceiling of a hospital room. My mind was still a little confused. I moved my body gently and noticed that my muscles were still a little stiff. A doctor asked me with concern how I was feeling. I tried to say something, but my throat hurt, so I nodded. The doctors told me that I was experiencing cardiac arrest. Fortunately, they didn't give up on me and managed to pull me back from the death line. The doctor asked if I was feeling any discomfort. I told him I felt a little dizzy and weak, but was still conscious. He told me to stay in the hospital for a while to recuperate. After the doctor left the room, I began to think back to everything that had just happened. When I told the doctor about meeting the angel, his expression became very surprised, as if he was listening to a fairy tale. He still listened carefully to my account without interrupting me. I described in detail the experience of seeing an angel outside the operating room, being taken to heaven, and talking to God. After listening to my narrative, the doctor was silent for a while, as if he was thinking about something. Finally, he took a deep breath. Then he told me that at that time in the operating room, my vital signs had disappeared and it looked like there was no hope. But, just at the moment he was about to give up, he heard a voice telling him not to give up and to hold on for 2 more minutes. The doctor also told me that this condition is known as paranormal in medical terms. He couldn't fully understand it, but chose to believe everything I said. My family and friends continued to visit me, bringing me many blessings and encouragement. The doctors and nurses also took very good care of me. A few days later, the doctor announced that I was ready to be discharged from the hospital. On the way home, I felt very grateful and blessed. I was very grateful to the angel who accompanied me so that I could come back here. I am also grateful to the doctor who did not give up and allowed me to have life again. Most of all, I should thank God for showing me the way forward. There are some things in the world that cannot be explained by science. After this experience, I paid more attention to my physical and mental health and tried to make myself a better person. I firmly believe that this experience will stay with me and give me a deeper life experience.